for session 4 of our faith group series on Solomon, a man lured away from God's own heart. In the first 3 sessions of this series, we've seen Solomon ascending. He selflessly asks for wisdom when he could have asked for everything. He uses that wisdom to lead Israel to the height of its power, and he builds a house for the Lord, the first great temple in Jerusalem. Now, as we enter the second half of the series, we'll see how great Israel had become and how that pursuit of greatness leads to the seeds of doom. I wonder, if we did a little informal poll of Bible readers, if one of the most hated verses in the Bible would be 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10. The love of money is the root of all evil. We don't want to hear that. We definitely don't want to believe that because we love money. Money affords security. It allows for comfort, for fun, for opportunity. We have dreams of what it would be like to win the lottery. We could do anything. We wouldn't have to worry about anything, would we? And King Solomon is the biblical poster boy for all of this. Since Solomon asked the Lord for wisdom instead of saying, "Show me the money," well, the Lord gave him both wisdom and showed him the money. Solomon was filthy rich. 1 Kings chapter 10 gives us a description of Solomon's wealth. This is right after that episode when the Queen of Sheba visits him. If you remember, she was left breathless by Solomon's wisdom. And I'm guessing she was pretty impressed with his wealth as well. Chapter 10, verse 14 says that the weight of gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 666 talents of gold, which, by the way, is kind of an ominous weight. I mean, I think with all the baggage that comes with the number 666, I'd consider giving away at least one of those talents. But that said, as we talk about the root of all evil, perhaps it's appropriate and a bit of foreshadowing. Well, with all that gold, Solomon got extravagant. He produced large gold shields, mass-produced all of these shields. He made this big ivory throne and covered it with the finest gold. On each side of the throne, there were 6 statues of lions. It says that the like of it was never made in any kingdom. It goes on to say that all Solomon's drinking vessels were of gold, and that the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were pure gold. None were silver, it says, because silver was not considered anything in the days of Solomon. It later says that Solomon made silver as common as stone. Silver was like a penny lying on the ground, not worth the effort to bend over and pick it up. Solomon verses 23 through 25 sum it up. Thus King Solomon excelled all the kings of the earth in riches and in wisdom. And the whole earth sought the presence of Solomon to hear his wisdom, which God put into his mind. Every one of them brought his present, articles of silver and gold, garments, myrrh, spices, horses, mules, so much year by year. It was good to be king. And it should be noted that this is not uncommon when it comes to royalty, because wealth is a sign of authority. So Emperor Shenzong, who ruled China from 1067 to 1085, controlled 30% of the global GDP, the equivalent of over $30 trillion today. Or Caesar Augustus, who ruled Rome at the time of Jesus' birth, was able to seize the power of the kingdom, which also accounted for 25 to 30% of the GDP at that time. In addition, he could count on a personal fortune of $4.6 trillion. Maybe you remember Muammar Gaddafi, who ruled Libya until he was deposed and killed in 2011. He loved to flaunt his wealth, and at the time of his death, the personal fortune of Gaddafi was estimated at the equivalent of about $200 billion in different banks of the world and oil investments in the country. It's a lot of money. Think of the famous crown jewels of the British royalty. These ornate, regal treasures actually have never been valued. They're actually considered priceless because they'll never be sold. And they display the power and the authority of the British monarchy. But then it's not just royalty that resorts to wealth and extravagance, is it? There's a quote from the movie Fight Club. We buy things that we don't need with money that we don't have to impress people we don't like. We pay extra money to have a brand name or logo on our clothes. Why would we actually pay more for the privilege of advertising for a company? Well, because of the status and recognition that comes with it. I recently heard of a little experiment that Payless Shoe Store conducted. Going by the more elegant sounding name of Paylessy, they opened an upscale temporary store and filled it with fashionistas. The so-called fashion influencers, essentially trendsetters that regular customers look to for style cues, they paid up to $645 for footwear that usually retails for between $19.99 and $39.99. The company said the fashion insiders were captured remarking on the quality of the shoes' design and fabrication before being told, of course, who made them. Here's what one of them said: "It's just stunning, elegant, and sophisticated," they said of a cheap stiletto heel. Or another said, I can tell it was made with high quality material," looking at a pair of sneakers. Suckers. Perhaps we could say that not only is the love of money the root of all evil, but that the love of status is the root of all foolishness. Have you ever made a foolish purchase in pursuit of extravagance and status? My brother and sister-in-law, early in their marriage, when they were trying to just, make ends meet, they decided to buy an old used BMW, which looked good, right? It had the right logo on it, the right hood emblem, right? But it, of course, cost more and was really expensive to maintain and fix, and it needed to be fixed quite a bit. But they lived in St. Louis Park at the time, and the church they went to was in Edina. And you got to keep up with the Joneses, don't you? The lure of wealth and prosperity and status can be an empty pursuit. Just ask King Solomon. You see, for a while, King Solomon's wisdom and wealth was enjoyed by all of Israel. It's fun, after all, to be on the winning team. But after a while, Solomon's ambition and need for more extravagance and status started to be felt by the people in his kingdom. The taxes skyrocketed. Men were forced to spend months away from home to work on Solomon's building projects. He even started to give away portions of the promised land to pay off the debts that he was incurring. Solomon lived in a time of unprecedented peace in Israel. All of his enemies had been dealt with, and the nation was free to prosper. But as it turned out, danger still lurked, and that danger was the lure of wealth. The obsession with wealth and the kingdom building slowly started to erode the good thing that Solomon had. And as we'll see, it leads to real trouble for the nation of Israel. And the concerning thing is that we too are prone to the same trappings. Our wealth and our comfort and our pursuit of it can slowly erode away at our lives and at our families and at our faith. Love of money is the root of all evil. And so it's important that we talk about how we can guard against it and use our wealth properly. So take some time and talk about that with your faith groups, and we'll see you in church.